Guys, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube or to the pod channel, feel free to do so right now, because each week I put out this content because I care about you and your company and I want you to succeed. So hit that subscribe button right there and turn on your notifications. Okay? All right, today, how many of you guys think you get in your own way? I tell people all the time, most of the problems within my company, I caused. If you can admit that most of the problems within your company you caused, you are more likely to succeed. And let me tell you why. Because you are more vulnerable, more humble. We're all vulnerable, but we're not all humble. If you want to argue with who started the problem, you're in the wrong business. As business owners, our job is to admit when we're wrong, because you'll never get ahead if you don't. Let's just put it that way. You'll never get ahead if you don't. And we get in our own way. We get in our own way often. And let me tell you something. Your team knows that. Your team knows you caused the problem. Your team knows you're in your own way. Your team knows when you have an ego. Your team knows when you don't admit you're wrong. They know. They see it. It's so refreshing when an owner just says, "I'm wrong. I screwed up. Let's start over." Your team can get behind that. They really can. They can get behind when you admit you're wrong and you just want to fix it and move on. They will help you fix it. It's refreshing to know when someone says they're wrong. It really is, especially in today's world. So I'm going to give you 5 quick tips for getting out of your own way, because we get in our own way. And we've all been there. We've all struggled with it. And we all have. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably have the motivation to move forward. And sometimes we just jump too fast. You know, ready, fire, aim. That type of attitude. I mean, that's who we are. Sometimes that's what we do. Not everyone, but a lot of us. And most of the time we get in our own way. And sometimes it can be, if you're not jumping the gun too fast, sometimes it can be you procrastinate too long. So one way or another, you're causing problems within your company. And your team is either wanting you to slow down a little bit. You know, it's kind of like the business owner that goes to a seminar and comes back with 50 changes. Your team expected that because they know you. And secondly, it's overwhelming for them. You can't make 50 changes. Now, you can make 2 or 3, but you can't make 50 changes. Terrible idea. So, but your team also knows if you're a procrastinator, they're wanting things to happen. They're saying hire more people. They're saying buy more trucks. They're saying buy more equipment. They're saying put another manager in place. They're thinking you should quit doing what you're doing. They're thinking you should quit selling. They're thinking this. They see it. They see when you're burnt out and you're fried and you're getting in your own way. They see all that. Why can't we see it? Well, after today, we should be able to see it. I hope this helps. So, number 1 is complete a few small tasks that are easy, because nothing motivates us than a win, even a small win. Celebrate small victories. We have to celebrate small victories. Every little victory in your life, celebrate it. Celebrate it. You know, it's kind of like making a to-do list. You make a to-do list, you're writing all this stuff down, but then you forgot to put one on there and you knock it out real quick. I don't know about you, but I write it on the to-do list. Then I cross it off because it's motivation. It's a win. I got it done. Celebrate wins. Start off your days on the right foot. with don't overwhelm yourself. Start with 2 or 3 things and get them done. Once you get enough wins in your book, then your confidence level will rise, and you'll start achieving more, because confidence breeds confidence, and confidence breeds success. And there's a lot of business owners that I coach that they tell me, I lack confidence in that area. I'm not sure of myself in that area. That's lacking confidence. And we gain confidence by winning. Continue to win. Measure small victories. That's a big key. Put it in perspective. Sometimes when the going gets tough, we completely lose touch. And we can't. The going's going to get tough, guys. It's like I said last week. It's not easy, or everyone would be doing it. The going's going to get tough. If you own your own business, there's nothing simple about it. That's why I said last week, there are times where I recommend someone not starting a business. But then I think about it and think that's kind of stupid. If they're going to start their own business, let them start their own business. They've got gung-ho. They've got motivation to do that. That would be stupid. But I want to tell them not to. I think you know what I mean. So here's a couple questions you can ask yourself on putting it in perspective. Why are you doing this? That's a great question. Why are you doing this? You run this business. Why? I get different answers every time I ask. The answer could be, my answer is I enjoy serving people. I enjoy hitting goals, and I had a calling to start this business. I really did. I look at it as a calling. It was a calling to start this business. Other answers, could be I was just expected to. I'm the second or third generation, and my parents just expected us to come into the business. Wasn't necessarily what we wanted. It was just expected of us. That's a tough spot to be in. So why are you doing this? Who are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for? That's a great question. And what are the consequences if you decide not to do it? Some good questions, deep questions to ask yourself. They say now's a great time to sell a business. It's a seller's market. If you're miserable doing it and you don't want to do it anymore, now's the best time to sell. But you have to ask yourself, what are the consequences and who are you doing it for? I just want to prove I can do this. Well, that's the wrong reason. My mom and dad would be very disappointed if I didn't continue this on, or Uncle John would be very disappointed if I didn't continue this on. That's the wrong reason. So we get in our own way. Remember the topic. And I want to help us get out of our own way. You could be in a situation where you just don't want to do it anymore, but you're a big enough company where you can hire someone to run the darn thing, and you can play another part. People do it all the time. The next one is focus on positive self-talk. Now, I read a book years and years ago called Be Careful What You Say to Yourself. And that was an excellent book. It's probably still out there. I don't remember the author. Be careful what you say to yourself, because what you say to yourself, your brain, again, God made our brain. It's bigger than any computer ever built. It will hold more data than any computer ever built. Now, for some of us, that's not the case. Sorry. A lot of us have killed many brain cells in our younger days, or presently, I hope not, but we've killed a lot of brain cells, and it's not holding as much as we'd like it to today. Okay? But focus on positive self-talk. there's a lot to be said about the power of suggestion to the brain. And there's been studies upon studies on those who talk to themselves, tell themselves they can do it, encourage themselves, are more positive, have much better results, and less mental blocks in their life. So focus on positive self-talk. You know, I do this. I just do this, and it can be audibly or it can be to myself. But Greg, you can do this. You've got this covered. Let's make it happen. Let's not stumble on the problems we see. Let's just make this happen. And I've talked about. I believe, I have faith as well. I have faith. When I talked about, I believe it was last week when I talked about two service techs putting in their 2-week notice within 20 minutes of each other, who had been with us quite a while, but were never happy, always disgruntled, always complaining, always crying, didn't want to work long hours, blah, blah, blah. I just have faith in God that he'll provide more service techs. It can't be that hard for God. He knows who they are already. He knows they have a great attitude. He knows they want to work for a company that cares about people. And he knows they just want to be part of something like this. And I just believe it. And I'll let you know when it happens because I just believe it. And I tell myself that. And when I pray, I tell God, this is what I need. But I'm all about positive self-talk. Try it sometime. Boy, I mean, if you're a positive, negative talker, I know where your life's going because same thing happens. You know, I believe it was Henry Ford who said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Because what you tell yourself is very important. If I tell myself I can't do it, then I don't be disappointed. I shouldn't be disappointed. Okay. And then the next one is break a sweat. This is a tougher one for me. I just had stem cell therapy done on my right knee. I wanted to try that. It's bone to bone there. Lost a lot of cartilage over the years. Number one, carrying too much weight. Number two, being in the Marine Corps and carrying too much weight. And jumping out of things and sports in high school and all that kind of stuff. But both my knees are shot. So I tried the right knee first. I just had it done last week. It could take anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks before we know if it actually take the stem cells out of my own stem cells out of my hip and put it in my knee. And then they take my blood plasma and put it in my knee as well. And that helps the stem cells grow and start building cartilage again. So I hope it works. It's a pretty good chance that it will. But this break a sweat is hard for me because I can walk a little ways, but I can't run anymore. I can do elliptical, and that definitely helps me. It's a lot less pressure on my knees. I can do elliptical, and I can break a sweat. I need to do it more often. Because according to Harvard Business Review, studies have directly linked mental performance to physical activity. So the more physical activity we do, the more we are apt to perform better mentally. And also, regular exercise has been showed to affect our mood, improve our mood, and have more mental firepower, okay? So talk about remembering things like we used to. You ever do that? Wish I could remember things like I used to. Well, try exercising more. Try sweating more. Break a sweat. That's what it's called, break a sweat. By the way, I received this information that I'm talking about today from a group called Refresh Leadership. And it's just a little bit about their content, and I'm using some of their highlights and then, talking about how it affects us and how we can learn from it. So 15 to 30 minutes of exercise each day will make a big difference mentally. And when we're good mentally, we probably will have a better chance of getting out of our own way. Lastly, I want to talk about asking for help. Now, honestly, guys, I have a lot of challenges. I have a lot of problems. I do things, some things I do wrong. I'm OCD about a lot of things. But one thing I don't have any problem doing is asking for help. I mean, I realize I don't know it all. I realize I don't have an S on this chest. If I did, it would stand for struggler. I struggle in things. I don't have all the answers. God has blessed me to do what I do, and we've been very successful at it. But I have gotten this far because of Him and because of good business people who are a lot smarter than me and good advice from my wife. So swallow your pride. I don't think there's any S on your chest. And I don't know of any water walkers other than Jesus. I know Peter got out of the boat and walked a few steps, but then he got his eyes off Jesus and he went down into the water, and Jesus had to lift him out. There's another story there. Keeping your eyes on Jesus will get you a lot farther. But anyway, there's no water walkers. By the way, in our old building, we had a pond right next to it. My old building actually is just south of my present building. And I built it, and I told the story about it last week, about it falling down when we got the walls up and all that stuff. But there was a nice little pond on it. And I used to tell people in our boot camps that you see that pond over there, the only time I've ever walked across it is when it was 5 below here in Dayton with a wind chill factor of 20. And it was a couple inches thick of ice, and I walked across that, but I don't walk on water, and neither do you. So we don't have all the answers, and if we pretend to have all the answers, that really throws a mixed message to our team. It really does, and then they're afraid to challenge you. See, and when you admit that you don't have all the answers, then your team is free to challenge you and ask questions in an appropriate way, of course, but they're free to do that because they know you're not going to get your feelings hurt or you're not going to get mad if they challenge you a little bit and ask a question, okay? There's been many times where Greg wanted to go this way, and my leadership team said, hold on a minute. If we go this way, can we do this, this, and this still? No. Okay, you're right. We shouldn't go this way. But I laugh. You know what? I thought it was a great idea. I just didn't think it through all the way. You know what I mean? Ready, fire, aim. Again, that comes back to haunt me sometimes. But we must learn to set our pride aside. We must learn that we do own our businesses. Well, I've said God owns it. I manage it. But we do own our businesses, but we don't have all the answers. And like Steve Jobs said, we hire smarter people than us, not to tell them what to do, but so they could tell us what to do. And when you have that attitude and you have that mindset and you have that strategic plan, I don't know, look where it got Steve. Pretty far. So there's always different perspectives. There's always different answers, and there's always a better way. And so the best way to get out of your way is to take some of this advice, think differently, get some exercise, swallow your pride, ask for help for sure, meet with your team often. Not your whole team. I mean, meet with your leadership team often. Even if you just have another manager, meet with them often. Discuss ideas, share things. You'll be much further ahead by doing that. And then also meet with your team, whether it's once a month or once a quarter or twice a year, but meet with your team so they know what road you are on and they know where things are going. That always helps them as well. So get out of your own way. I hope this helps. Have a great day.